Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Drux Milan on Boxing. We've got another big fight in the UK on Saturday. Not sure if it's showing here in South Africa. Let's keep each other informed in the comment section about that. But I think it's going to be a good one, even though there's a very strong favorite in this fight. And I'm talking about Artur Beterbiev, the unified WBC, IBF, WBO light heavyweight champion of the world, who will be defending his belts against England's Anthony Yarde, the beast from the East. Now, Anthony Yarde has challenged for the world title before. He came up short years ago in an epic fight with Sergei Kovalev in Russia. He had Kovalev in all sorts of trouble, and I think it was the 8th round, and he had Kovalev all but out on his feet. And then Kovalev turned things around and knocked Yarde out in the 11th round. Now, Yarde has recovered since. He now has a record of 23 wins with 22 knockouts and 2 losses. After he challenged Kovalev, he dropped the decision to Lyndon Arthur in a domestic battle there in the UK, and he lost a close decision there. And in that fight, to me, he looked awful. He was overthinking things. It was hundreds of feints and head movements, and he never really sat down and let his punches go until it was too late in the last round. And he dropped that decision to Lyndon Arthur. It seemed to me like he was overthinking it. Now, Anthony Yarde is a guy who had an amateur background to speak of, and he's a big, strong, almost muscle-bound sort of fighter physically. And as we can see, 22 knockouts and 23 wins. He is a big puncher. Now, before a fight against Kovalev, he didn't really have he didn't really fight a very high level of opposition, so it was a big step up against Kovalev, and he fought his heart out, but he came up short. And there against Kovalev, he kept losing rounds because he feints his way in, he overthinks it a little bit, he just doesn't throw enough, just didn't sit down on his punches enough, and when he did, he almost had Kovalev out. But then Kovalev got himself back in the fight with his experience and better stamina and knocked Yarde out. And against Lyndon Arthur, he did not look good. He looked like he really was overthinking things. But in all fairness, the COVID-19 pandemic has not been kind to Anthony Yarde at all. He lost 5 of his family members. Can you believe that? So that would mess with anybody's head. So I believe him when he said against Lyndon Arthur the first time around, he didn't have his head in the right space. But in the rematch, he got everything together. He let his hands go, very importantly. And when Anthony Yarde does let his hands go, he's got power, and he really throws those combinations well. You know, how long he can sustain it is, of course, a question. You know, he's not a guy who really goes a lot of rounds, but he did manage to get Lyndon Arthur out of there and knocked him out in 4 rounds, and that was very impressive. So he finds himself with another title shot. But now, although Artur Beterbiev is 38 years old, that's quite old, I don't think he is, I won't say Kovalev was over the hill by the time he fought Yarde. I just think he was a little bit past his prime. He was perhaps a little bit shop-worn at that stage. He had that loss against Yarde Alvarez, which he reversed, and the 2 fights against Andre Ward. And I think it wasn't the best version of Kovalev, but still a pretty good version of Kovalev. And Yarde didn't have experience and couldn't sustain his attack enough to get over the hill. Now he's up against Artur Beterbiev. And Beterbiev, despite his age, I think is a much fresher fighter than Kovalev was. I don't think he's quite as good a boxer behind the jab as Kovalev can be. But he is almost like a light heavyweight version of Gennady Golovkin in the sense that he throws bricks. He's very, very heavy-handed. And he's undefeated 18-0, and all those 18 wins, 18 knockouts. He's knocked everybody out. Now we talk about Deontay Wilder being the premier puncher in boxing, but you gotta give it to Artur Beterbiev as well. Also, you know, the guy who went the furthest was Enrico Cooling, who got stopped in the 12th round when Beterbiev won that IBF title, and he made 6 defenses of that title, unified with WBC champion Alexander Vostik, a fight that I didn't think he would win, and he systematically broke down Vostek and eventually stopped him in the 10th round. And he also systematically put a beating on Marcus Brown in one of his title defenses, which I thought was quite impressive. And then in his last fight, he added the WBO belt when he knocked out another big puncher, Joe Smith Jr. in the second round and was very impressive. But the fight has had postponements. There's been a lot of inactivity in the career of Beterbiev, and there's been a lot of injuries. So that's a glimmer of hope for Anthony Yarde. Could Beterbiev just be reaching the end of the road? Could the injuries and the inactivity have been too much? Beterbiev, of course, an elite pound-for-pound fighter. And in the same division, we've got Dmitry Bivol. We've got Beterbiev with 3 other belts and lineal status as well. And because he beat Vostik, who beat Adonis Stevenson, who at that stage was no longer the ring champion. He was stripped, but he was still lineal champion, the man who beat the man. And we got the WBA champion, the Canelo conqueror, Dmitry Bivol. We hope after this fight we can see the two fight each other, but Anthony Yarde wants to upset that apple cart. And does he have a chance? I don't see many people giving Anthony Yarde a chance at all, but he is a big puncher. And Artur Beterbiev, even though he's offensively, technically sound, even though he's got those heavy hands, even though he's this tough guy who's got good stamina, he can be hit and he can be hurt. And a not elite level fighter like Callum Johnson was able to knock him down and hurt him, and then Beterbiev took out Johnson, of course. But he can be hit and he can be hurt, and that's the glimmer of hope, as well as the age and the injuries of Beterbiev. That's a glimmer of hope for Anthony Yarde here. Now, for Anthony Yarde to win, he can't overthink it. If he's going to go in with all these little feint jabs before he actually jabs, and if he's going to do all these foot and hand feints and overthink it, if he's going to overdo it and be too wary of Beterbiev's power, he's going to lose this fight, because I don't think he's got the pure boxing skills to outbox Artur Beterbiev. If Vostik couldn't do it, Yarde's not going to do it. So he's got to use his punches, Johnson. For that, I think Anthony Yarde must just roll the dice like he did there against Lyndon Arthur. He went after him and he took him out. And he's going to have to do this against Beterbiev. Beterbiev is a slow starter. He goes through the paces in the early rounds. He's got to jump on Beterbiev early and let those hands fly and try and take him out. The danger is he can empty the tank there, but I think it's a chance he's got to take against Beterbiev. I don't see another way for Anthony Yarde to win except to let his hands go, nail Beterbiev like Callum Johnson did, and take him out. Now, as for Beterbiev, he's got to watch that slow start. He's got to keep his jab active. He's got to prevent Anthony Yarde to build up that head of steam. And if he does that and systematically keeps hitting Anthony Yarde, I think he's got the heavier hands than Kovalev, and he's not that zap one and done puncher that Deontay Wilder is. But you can't take punches from Artur Beterbiev for very long, and it will have an effect. So I think he just has to systematically keep working the body of Anthony Yarde, keep his jab going, keep punching Anthony Yarde, and I think he will get Anthony Yarde. I don't think Yarde has got the greatest stamina. I don't think he's got the greatest chin. And I think that will be his downfall against Artur Beterbiev. So I expect Beterbiev here at the Wembley Arena in London, which will be packed with all the Anthony Yarde supporters. I expect Beterbiev to weather the early storm. I don't think Anthony Yarde's going to be able to take him out. And I think he'll turn it around, much like Kovalev did. And he'll stop a tiring Anthony Yarde. I think somewhere between rounds 8 and 10, I expect Artur Beterbiev to get Yarde out of there. Some say earlier. I think Yarde's going to put up a bit of a stand, and I think he's going to have his moments. I won't surprise if he knocks down Beterbiev, but I don't think he's going to have the steam to keep him down. And so I'm going with Anthony Beterbiev in a good fight. I think Artur Beterbiev will win this, but I think Anthony Yarde is going to have his moments. He's going to be dangerous early. And that's how I see the fight. I'm riding with Artur Beterbiev on this one. Please let me know in the comment sections. Do you think Anthony Yarde's got a chance here? Who do you have winning this fight of the big light heavyweight punchers at the Wembley Arena? And please, guys, as always, hit that thumbs up button, give the channel a like, and please jab that subscribe button so that we can grow the channel. I would appreciate that very much. And until we see each other again, remember to keep those hands up.